Hey everyone, my name is Anna Wennblad and I'm the project leader for this fantastic project called European City versus Uniting for Inclusiveness. Welcome to today's session, Project Level Up session. And let's take you through for the next slide. So our long and beautiful name also tells our story, as you know. European, it stands for where we operate. City versus is our what we are building, this new digital layer. And uniting describes how we work, and inclusiveness is why we are doing this. So let's take the next one. Let's remind ourselves of our full project or objectives that we have in the project. The first one is inclusive digital twin city design. Second one, AI enhanced technical development and service integration. Third one, strategic communication for project replication and outreach. And the fourth one, develop a sustainable and scalable business model. And I hope you know these by heart by now. So today's Project Level Up session. This session is about strengthen the skills, ensure compliance, also, to spark this collaboration across the project community. And we try to set up different themes from different persons and different beneficiaries so we all can benefit and share our knowledge. Today's session is about ethical governance and legal safeguard, ensuring EU compliance. We had one previously in January called What If Your Data is Trapped in a Legal Gap, which was from our two legal students. All this session from January and also all the previous ones you can find on our teams and also on our website. But today we are going into the ethical governance structure. Okay, moving ahead then. Today's session is about the ethical governance model and the legal safeguard, as I said. It's about GDPR compliance, responsible AI, data processing, and protection of vulnerable groups. And it's to reinforce the alignment with EU regulatory requirements. And I have two presenters here today. My colleague Monica Ek, who will present the project's ethical governance, and then Kim Lantto from the city of Gothenburg, who will share some practical implementation of data and AI governance. So with that, I think I welcome on stage Monica Ek. Mina, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Hi and welcome everyone. I'm going to talk a bit about our ethical governance and legal safeguards. So, ethics as an enabler for the digital city. Ethics is an incredibly broad subject, both complex and multifaceted. It touches upon every choice we make and every methodology we adopt. While it would be impossible to grasp every nuance in a brief presentation like this, I would like to attempt to provide an overview on how we have been approaching ethical issues within the CU project, highlighting our work so far and our future roadmap. Ethics can be simply described as the study of morality, systematic reflections on right and wrong, good and evil, and how we should act in various situations. Within the CU project, these definitions become more specific. Here, ethics is not just about personal values, it's a structured method for protecting rights and building trust. We can examine ethics through the three specific lenses. The theoretical definition. Ethics is the intellectual discipline that analyzes the basis of our moral beliefs. It asks questions such as, what rights does an individual have in relation to the collective? Or what does it mean to treat another human being with dignity and respect? Number 2, the applied definition. In technology, in projects like CU, ethic is defined as proactive accountability. It is about integrating fundamental human rights into the technical architecture. This includes ensuring transparency in AI decision-making, actively preventing bias and discrimination in algorithms, and protecting the privacy of vulnerable groups such as children through immediate anonymization. And the third one, the strategic definition. Here, ethics is the practical application of trust. As mentioned in the project framework, ethics is the filter that determines whether families dare to give their trust, their engagement, and their time. Without ethics, there is no trust, and without trust, we cannot collect the honest insights required to create functional services. Ethics in the CU project is not a collection of restrictive rules. It is our most important enabler. It ensures we develop technology that serves people and that every technical choice respects individual rights and well-being. While the City of Gothenburg possesses experts' competence in various departments, there is not yet a single uniform regulatory framework for these issues. Therefore, the CU project must take significant responsibility for defining what is vital in our work. The primary ethical challenges identified so far concern our work with user interviews and AI development. But ethics is naturally a part of every work package and a responsibility for every project participant. To embed ethical consideration across the entire breadth of the project, we applied the principle of ethic by design. This means including ethical evaluations throughout the process rather than applying an ethical filter afterwards. This approach allows us to learn more about those issues as the project processes, ensuring we stay on the right track. We navigate by 3 major European compasses that ensure our solutions are legally robust and ready for international market. We use the GDPR for privacy protection, the new EU AI Act for responsible artificial intelligence, and the European Accessibility Act for universal accessibility. By clarifying these complex issues now, we can create a secure, scalable, and sustainable foundation for future innovation in line with European guidelines. The human dimension, expertise beyond contracts and checklists. Let us look at how this works in practice within our work package 2. Here we work directly with families of children with functional variations, a group forced to navigate what we call hidden thresholds every day. These can be physical barriers like curbs and stairs, but often the most difficult barriers are invisible: sensory overload, complex planning, or the fear of not being welcomed in public spaces. Here we encounter one of the project's most vital ethical insights, that no regulations in the world can replace human expertise and sensitivity. In our report, Mid-Project Compliance and Ethic Report that we delivered in December 2025, we emphasize that our method must be adaptive and deeply situational. As a project partner, we have the organization Our Normal, which possesses the unique competence and experience required to conduct interviews and tests on the family's own terms. It's about being able to read the situation in real time. As our work package lead, Jenny Lindström Bejar, states in the report, quote, "Even if I have been given permission to take photographs, it sometimes does not feel right to take out the camera, and in those cases, I don't. It is vital to be able to read the situation." This is the core of our ethics. No legal contract can instruct a researcher to make that choice. It requires long experience, empathy, and a deep-seated child rights perspective. In collaboration with the families, we apply a strict procedure for double consent, requiring approval from both guardians and the child. But we go further. The child's no, even if it's unspoken through body language or hesitation, always carries the most weight, and the session is terminated if necessary. Our focus is on documenting needs rather than diagnosis. These needs form the basis for our completely anonymous user journeys, compiled from literature studies, previous knowledge, interviews, and best practice. This ensures that the aggregated user journeys cannot be traced back to any specific individual. From these needs, we create a list of desired functionality for our prototype, which are ranked, developed, and tested in order of priority. Data management, the balancing act, as open as possible, as closed as necessary. One of the greatest ethical challenges in a smart city project is how we handle the data we use and collect. We walk the talk regarding the EU's fundamental motto for responsible research, as open as possible, as closed as necessary. This expression, derived from the EU's Horizon Europe framework, is about finding the perfect balance between promoting openness and innovation while simultaneously protecting individual privacy and monitoring security concerns. Within the CU project, we apply a razor-sharp division. All raw data from our in-depth interviews, the children's own voices, their personal stories, and video recording is as closed as necessary. This data is anonymized immediately upon collection, stored on secured servers, and with strictly limited access. And it's never shared outside the project, not even with all partners within the consortium. Those with access have signed a specific agreement of security. Furthermore, we delete all material as soon as the scientific analysis and the project are completed. At the same time, the insights we derive from this work are as open as possible. Our comprehensive insight report, I Want to Go There Now, and our technical data structures for accessibility are shared openly. By turning our conclusions into open data, we ensure that other cities in Europe can learn from CU. We thereby contribute to a common European knowledge base, proving that one can be both a safeguard for privacy and an engine for open knowledge. And please download this report. I want to go there now on the CU website. So, technical integrity, AI, interoperability, and scalability. We are transitioned from the human encounter to the technical implementation in Work Package 3 and Work Package 4. We meet other ethical challenges where our principle must enable the project's keywords: open source, interoperability, and scalability. We are developing, among other things, an AI assistant to serve as a personal guide and service within our Cityverse. Here we follow the EU AI Act through 3 practical pillars. Transparency. Users must always be clearly informed that they are interacting with an AI. There must never be any doubt regarding the source of the information. Bias minimization. We actively audit our training data. If any AI only learns from standard environments, it will inevitably provide incorrect or exclusionary advice to a person who needs wheelchair accessibility or cognitive support. Human oversight. We implement human-in-the-loop mechanisms where our experts verify that AI-generated content is both accurate and ethically sound. To ensure interoperability, we use international standards such as CityGML and contribute actively to the development of the MIMS 8. This means that our accessibility data speaks the same technical language as other systems across Europe. We are creating an open, neutral digital infrastructure where even external innovators and companies can build new inclusive services via our contribution to the local digital twin toolbox and other initiatives, which enables scalability. Naturally, we also follow the principles of as open as possible and as close as necessary here to protect data that should not be shared. Blueprint and future responsibility, a legacy for Europe. In conclusion, what is the actual legacy of the CU project? We do not just want to build a technical prototype. We want to deliver a blueprint for the digital cities of the future. During 2026, we will take the next major step by establishing a formal ethics council. This council, consisting of project members and external experts, will continuously review our AI development and assure that we meet the highest standards of accountability and transparency. By documenting our ethical choices and legal consideration in our upcoming sustainability guide that will be delivered in March 2027, we aim to create a manual for the entire EU. We want to show that ethics is not a barrier to innovation. It is the very foundation that makes innovation possible. Trust, open standards, the human expertise are the fuel that makes a Cityverse environment scalable, sustainable, and above all, human. So, thank you for listening, and I now look forward to hearing your thoughts and open the floor for discussions and questions.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
I have prepared some questions.
You have prepared some questions.
I have some.
Okay.
While anyone who has in the chat, you're welcome to, of course, write them, and we'll have an eye for that one. But let's start with the first question then.
Yes.
Do you want to? So, the balance between open as possible and closed as necessary. How, if we want to share like a ramp on to help citizens, guiding and our wayfinding, how do we, without exposing vulnerable groups, in the city security. How do you go about that? To close
Yes.
data and to still help out.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is a balance, of course. And sometimes you want to share your personal data to have favors. And of course you can. And other times you want to keep your privacy. So that's why in this prototype that we are building, we are not going to collect any personal data at this stage. So we don't have any data that we save in any way in the prototype. So that's our way just now to ensure the privacy.
Good. And a next question then. You mentioned it, ethical blueprint. Blueprint. The ethical my God, ethics blueprint. Yeah. I know the word. But how can we use that to show other cities, on that the strong ethical framework is a competitive advantage?
Yes,
it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
But I just think because it's a.
Yes, I think our project, since we're working with children with disabilities, we have like a very, very high ethical standard. So I think if we can manage to describe how we are working and give like examples and information in our blueprint, that could be very easy for others to follow, even though they don't have exactly the same questions. So the thing we can do is to share our work, and they can maybe get inspired.
Good. Thank you, Monica, for this.
Thank you.
Now let's leave the word and the stage to Kim Lantto. Yes, we take it. We take that question off, but I can't see it now. So let's. We take next. No. Kim Lantto.
No question.
Welcome to. Oh, you have your questions.
Yeah,
later
but there
on.
was no question there.
Oh, that was
It's hard to see.
maybe there, but I'll check them out later. So,
Yeah.
but now it's your turn to enter the stage. I'll leave the word to you.
Thank you.
And there you click here,
Yeah. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Let's see if this works. Something's going to happen eventually. There it goes. Yeah. So I'm Kim from the city of Gothenburg, and I work with digitization for the city and open data and e-services and everything that's basically some kind of service that a citizen or a company wants from our city. In this part, after Monica's great presentation, we need just a little more perspective on what the city does. And so I just brought some 3 short slides with information and thoughts that we think about and work on in our small team that we have in the department where I work. And it's not going to be an easy question to talk about data and AI going forward. I mean, going until now, it's been quite easy because most of the rules and regulations have been put in place by the EU, so it's quite easy to follow them. But it's not that easy for departments to see where they're supposed to be looking into, or what kind of questions they should be focusing on. So I just brought a couple of thoughts that I have here, where you can look at, like you said, transparency, of course, and the human oversight and decision making. But there are a few more examples that you can find if you look into the Living in EU declaration, which we have done for maybe it was like 4 or 5 years ago when we were in a different EU project called IRIS, where we also had to build a city information platform that was supposed to gather a lot of data from IoT, from citizens, from databases, from anything that you really have in a city, to build services that could be applied to citizens. It could be gathering information on where your garbage disposals were so that the car could come and pick them up. What kind of data does that entail? How does it look? What are we gathering? Are we filming the streets with our garbage trucks, and what kind of data do we get from there, how we're going to look at that data, how we're going to use that data, and so on. But happily, with the declaration coming from the Living in EU, there was a few points that were a lot more discussed than in our project. So it was a lot of help for us to find this and to go into the first point that which I have there, which is city-centric digital transformation, and see how a citizen is going to be involved with the data that you're going to be collecting. So for every service that we build in our city, we always have that in our minds and see, okay, what kind of data do we need to collect for this specific service? For garbage disposals, for instance, when there's a truck coming down your street and they're going to pick up a can or two, they scan the cans that they have, and that's connected to some person who has bought that kind of service. So in that process of collecting the garbage, how are we using that data? What kind of data do I need to collect every time I pick up a bin? Do I need to know the person's name, the address, and so on? Probably not. You might need the QR code and a table list of where you're going to pick up the garbage. But in that case, data is very sparse for the person collecting the bin. But when it gets back to the administration part, where you're going to look at which bins did we pick up, what kind of services has this person bought, and what kind of information do we need to collect to give that service, that's a quite variety of data information that you could collect or you need to collect. It's customer information, it's amount of time, it's money, it's the consistency of the service that we're bringing them, if it's a regular garbage or food garbage or whatever it is. So there's a lot of data points that you have to be very in tune with when you're actually collecting it, and see how you're going to use that when you build that service. And now with AI, you could use all that data to get a more broader, smarter route planning, but it also could be very tricky to navigate what kind of data should you use for that AI to make that service better. So having something like the EU document saying that, okay, let's look at citizen-centric data and digitization, and let's look at ethically how we're collecting that data, how we're using that data, in what services do we need to use that data for, to get that service to be actually useful and done. We don't need everything. So in collection of data, for instance, in the city, when we have e-services, it doesn't matter what e-service it is, we always, together with the department, look at the questioning for that e-service. What do we need to collect, and why do we need to collect that? Do we need to collect that information in this instance, or can we use that in another instance, for instance? Because when you're having an e-service, you're almost certainly collecting something from them, but you most likely have a lot of data. So maybe you should think of having your services that are disconnected from a personal information, so you don't collect what my name is, my email address, and my phone number, which is always something that people easily want to collect, but that's not used when you're just asking for specific questions of do you like this, or are you going here? But if it's a specific service that I want to buy, for instance, collecting bins or getting my trash taken care of, well, then you need a database for the customer, you need a money transaction and so on. Okay, then we have to collect that kind of data, but maybe just once. So next time that you are using that person for delivery of different services, you don't have to ask that question again. You can just provide that information to them to secure that this person is the right one that you're talking to within that service. So you have to really navigate on what kind of questions, when you're going to ask them, and how you're collecting it, and also to which systems. It cannot be cross open to every system, which is very important to building services. So a lot of the things that I put in there, like nice to have questions, we don't ask them. We don't want anybody to ask those nice to have questions. We only want to build a service that is asking you what I need for the system to bring you the service. at that time. So the ethics checklist makes it easy for you when you have that kind of mindset. We only ask what we need at this time, and the next time we're only going to ask those questions. And we don't connect all our databases to each other just because it's convenient and smart. We have a structure and we have an idea on why these systems need to talk to each other and when they should talk to each other. And I think that's a very key point to have when you're looking at data collection, especially specifically when it gets to using it to AI and those kinds of services. Here are some principles that are from the Living in EU declaration that I think that you should be aware of, and also the link to where you should go and read. If your city hasn't signed this, I really hope that you take it up with your citizen services so that they can sign it, because it's not just that you sign the declaration of how we're going to work and you spread that into your organization in the city. It's really a big network when you're working with other European cities on how to bring services to the citizens. So when we're looking at a specific service that we want to build in Gothenburg, I can look in the whole Europe and see, oh, who has built this service? How did they do that? Can we trade information? Can I steal their idea so I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time? So I think that there's a lot to learn if you just dive into this declaration. Also, there's the artificial intelligence site from the EU that you can use. There's a lot of information there too, but it's not as easy attainable as the Living in EU declaration, which is very easily spoken in different languages. And if you have any questions in that, they're always easy to reach and learn from. So I think I'm going to stop there, and we can have maybe a few questions about those things.
Thank you very much, Kim. So let me have all my stuff here. So let's pick up the question regarding AI and that complexity, because how should organizations and cities sort of prepare for that, for that future with AI increasingly processes and governs also this large volume of data?
I don't think anybody has really that kind of answer to attain
not
today.
Even
No, because it's, for most cities that I talk to in Sweden and Europe, they haven't built anything substantial with AI. And that's because they don't have a clear path on how they should open up or use that data. And that's why one of the things that we work on is how can we open up data so it's open data? Because when it's open data, you have done all your checks and balances to release that data openly. And then it's very easy for us to put it into AI services or other services, and because everything is checked and controlled. So I think that if we're going to build services that use AI, we need to have that kind of focus. Open up the data, make it very easy and clear how it's collected and how it's packaged. Give it a good service that says, okay, you can use like this. This is the licensing. This is where we use it. So it's easier for everybody to understand it.
Yeah.
Because the key for having data open is that everybody can build those services. Because I don't have the money and the time to build any service or every service. So I want the citizens to build those services for me or together with me.
Yeah, even better. Together. Okay, another question then. What guidance and support and tools structure are available to ensure this compliance?
Well,
maybe you answered that already with the Living in EU.
With the Living in EU, if you have that, and you're looking into the OASK and the MIMS, you go into those groups and you just connect to any of them. They're really helpful in any kind of question that you have. We as a city, we want to be in those environments, in those groups and communities, because we get so much back. The small or the little that I give back to those projects is I get so much back from just having those discussions and having those friends that work with these questions in different areas, in different difficulties than I do. I mean, for us in our city, I think it's very easy to work with digitization because we're so many people and they have so much competence. But when I talk to friends in Germany, they might not have this kind of balancing structure that we have. So I can easily call anybody and ask, how did you fix that problem? How can I learn from that? A lot of cities don't have that. So having something like OASC or Living News is a lot helpful. And the EU website is, I mean, it's terrific. It has so much information.
It's a lot of information, but it's also
It's not easy, but
it's not easy, but it's good.
It's good, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I mean, you can use that into any AI agent and get some help from that.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing these lessons learned, and do stay on a bit.
Yep.
And I will invite Monica. While I also say that in a week, next Tuesday, we will have me and Jenny Lindström Beyer will host a little seminar. We will be speaking at a seminar at the webinar at Living in EU. Speaking of living in EU, so we will share also there our knowledge. We had a question on the chat, and thanks for the presentation. This was after Monica's sneaking. I'm especially curious about the ethical implications of generative AI since it's such a new technology. I'm curious to see how a European initiative might look and address ethical concerns that have been raised surrounding implementation in other regions.
Yes.
Anyone who...
Yes, I can start. This is why I can say that we have put a little more focus on the ethical questions in CU project, because we really see that this is a lot of things here to consider. And since we have just started with the AI development on a little broader scale, these are exactly the questions that we want to work with. So I hope I can come back to you with some better answers on that question in a year from now, when we are presenting our report on this topic.
Do you have anything?
No, but I think it's very hard to say what to do right now because we haven't done much in that field. I mean, working with AI Sweden, for instance, we learn a lot every time we're there. But going further, I think maybe you should look broader because there's a lot more been done in China and in the States, for instance. So looking at Center for Humanity, Human Technology, with Tristan Harris, for instance, they have a great podcast where you can learn a lot. I learn a lot from there too.
What was the name of the podcast?
It's hold on, I'll find it because I have it. It's in my cheat sheet.
Yeah.
No, but it's good to look at, like America. It's a trickier place to work with these kind of questions, so they have a lot more. Your Undivided Attention is the podcast, which is really good with Tristan Harris. So I mean, that's a hard question to answer. So like this, and that I understand why that question comes up a lot.
Yeah. So we save that question a bit. Or we saved not the question. We saved the question and we'll also get back to it. Yes, that's correct. And have a great tip there of the podcast. So if anyone...
any more questions that you want to?
Not any more questions. I don't see any questions, and
There comes something.
I have done my questions. It is an exciting field for sure. Thanks for the recommendation. Yes, check it out. The podcast. Okay. By that, thank you very much for today. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Monica. And what will you... what's coming up? That's what you want to say. No, don't stay. Don't go. So before we leave, next session is a week from now. We will have the topic about the LDT Cityverse EDIC, European Digital Infrastructure Consortium. Don't miss out on that one. Thank you very much for today. See you.